This is old damage from, maybe 50 years ago. I think I just pulled the nail flake from that corner that's been obstructing the nail from coming out. Just got embalmed, nail built up over it and bypassed it. So this is what I'm talking about, though. I think all of this old damage, no matter how long it's been in there, I've got to dig it all out. That was just going to laminate more skin right back over it. It was already re-impacted. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. This is decades ago. Damage I did a long time ago when I was biting my fingernails. See, you see how that corner is pushed out. That's just created incredible pressure there in that corner, and I still haven't been able to relieve it because it's so impacted that I can't work on it. Nail flake was just tucked down in there underneath the nail. And I did this really extensive video, which I haven't posted yet. It's just going to scare people. It's 3 hours. I just sat here and picked all this dead skin until my fingers bled. And I went to the next finger and picked it till it bled and went to the next one. But they had all glued themselves just right back down, There's no help for it. We're into it now. And it's necessary. It's going to be necessary to get it all off. I'm hoping that there's going to be, somebody's going to look at this and the doctor's going to say, I think I can take all that off with a laser in like 3 sessions. And people won't have to do this. But this is illustrating what it is. This is what you've got. This is the damage you've got on your hands. And I'm sincerely hoping there's a way to deal with this that won't take you 3 years. But you can see how that's just been chewed away on the side there, and all of this is from here over. This is all just filler. It's just skin laminate in there, and then see, that's not. It could be nail, but the way it's the rubbery texture and all of that. If it's buried down in there and you try to take it out, you'll know it's nail then. If it's grabbed, it could be. It's hard to say till you actually get into it. But the cuticle skin grows up over this way, and then the nail material comes out and just washes out over it, a thin coat, and hardens up that way. And you can do that over and over and over again. Now it's hard to tell what you've got any one particular place or time. But it's all damage, and it's all going to come off. You can know that. So that was all, see, that was all had just glued itself right back down. Cuticle, you know. Just it's under so much pressure, and there's so much of it back here. That collar is starting to reveal itself now, and I can feel it. That's hard, you know, and it comes right on around there. There's that much of it. It comes all the way around and back up and around. Right there, you can see it. That is really tender, you know, don't want to do too much there. But this is just dead callus skin here. And you can pull away at it, and it will separate. It can, you do that, and without too much difficulty, you can pull it separate. You can separate that line, start to see what you got, where you can work without hurting yourself. So that's starting to show the cuticle line there. See, this is all a bumper. All of this is dead callus skin out here, and it rolls up and over and back in on the inside. So even though this is laminated back and forth and it fills it up, here, you can still start to see that the bumper is separate. It's supposed to be separate. Ooh, went a little deep. And I'm just trying to separate it on that line. Without getting into the quick. So I'm just plucking at that, that's dead callus. I'm just pulling at it, the flat of the knife. Trying to force a little separation there. So you can see it's then you can start to see that it's not all one thing. It's just fooling you. Dead skin. Just dead callus skin. And this is still dead nail material here that's laminated in. And there's not really, I can't tell yet exactly where the nail bed is. But that's callus right there. That's for sure. It doesn't hurt at all. It's not even, there's no discomfort with that. When you get into pulpier stuff, you'll know it. So that's laminated right up against the nail, see? That's skin though. And it'll hurt if I pull it because, you know, if it's laminated right up into there, and that's that's sensitive and you pull on it, you'll feel it. But you're pretty much working on dead material here. And tomorrow the next layer will be drying up, and then the next layer after that. I haven't, I'm not a sophisticate. I have not, don't have a laser to burn the stuff off with. I just have to pick at it. And so all I can tell you is you're going to have to do it. It's not going to do itself. There's no magic. I haven't discovered the magic yet that would allow me to take all this damage off my hands without actually having to get involved in it. I haven't found the person I can farm this out to. Or the person I would trust, as far as that goes. Well, that's another. Talking about service providers. There we go. It peeled right out. Yeah. I had it focused for a second. Now it wants to focus on the book. So that was all just a solid mass of skin, it looked like. It was bleeding yesterday. And today it's, all back normal looking kinda. And it had all laminated over. It was dry. As a matter of fact, it all pretty much looked the same, again. So we're going to find out if this is actually nail down in here. It feels a little crusty. And it's definitely buried down in there. It's definitely buried down in the tissue. So if I were to actually get a corner of it somewhere and yank on it and pull it, it would either not want to pull it very far because it would be painful, or it would want to bleed. Well, that wasn't very productive. Nope, that didn't want to work either. It's hard to work on it that way. Working it back. Oop. Ouch. Ouch. And that's just a remnant of dead cuticle skin. It's pulling out on that line. You can see it's part of that. It's going to tear right there and let down that line. Just roll up. If I do it right, and manage not to gouge into the next. It's possible, but not likely that you'll get into anything that you would be sensitive. I was trying to see if I got another nail flake. You know what that is? That's probably cuticle skin. But all of this is relieving pressure, pressure that's been buried, laminated in under my skin, creating discomfort for dozens of years. I mean, literally, the vast majority of my life, this damage has been under my skin. It's creating subliminal problems that I didn't know about. Now I'm trying to pick under. This is a crescent. See, this lays in that groove, and this is just layer after layer after layer of dead cuticle skin. And each one will come out like that. The next one will start to dry up tomorrow. And you'll see that if this is an overnail, if this is a big lumpy repair nail or overnail, it has come out over the dead cuticle skin, right? So when you try to pull this, if you actually succeed in getting a corner of it loose and you get the forceps on it, it will come out in a string from under the nail. And you can, there are two ways to get at it. You can wait until you take this top nail off. But actually, when you relieve the pressure, when you pull this dead skin or cuticle or whatever it is out from under the nail and expose it, that undermines the nail. And the nail will want to erode away. It'll help it. And your other choice is to take the dead cuticle skin off and expose another layer of dead cuticle skin that's been not drying up because it was protected on the top by more dead cuticle. But no matter which way you do it, it's all damage, and all of it you get off, the better off you are. You work at it this way and you work at it that way. It's showing that, see, I've opened that up down there, if you can see. Yep. Pulled a little bit from under there, but it broke instead of pulling out like I wanted it to. It's under tremendous pressure in those corners. And it'll pull out in strings like that. Like I said, the cuticle is like a hem on your trousers. It runs all the way around. This is one cuticle all the way around. And when you bite through it over here, trying to get a piece of that nail and pull it out of your nail bed, the whole cuticle dies and a new one forms underneath it and pushes up, and you get stacks and stacks and stacks of them. And it's all this dead skin. But it doesn't go away. It sits there. It sits there sometimes, like me, for 65 years until you wake up and realize what's going on. Since it doesn't seem like anybody in the medical profession actually knows what this is or how it works. They think you can fix this with taking drugs. They think it's a disease, not just a mechanical problem. But all it is a buildup of dead skin that's a result of, psoriasis of the nail. It's just a way of saying you've got damaged nails. There's no underlying infirmity that causes it except biting your fingernails or not doing nail maintenance. It's not vitamin D deficiency or something that causes this. It's just you didn't break your cuticles loose from your fingernails every day. And keep everything alive and flexible. It's not any more complicated than that. But it doesn't necessarily show up for years and years and years, and if you're not paying attention and you don't know what's going on, you might never see it. By the time you go around to it, they'll tell you need to have your leg amputated or something. You'll say, gee, I wish I'd had gotten a pedicure instead. back when it was still an option. See, that's down in that corner. It's wrapped underneath, and you could see there when I find that you can see that collar around there. There's something else I don't know in this light at this time of day. I don't know if you can see it, but this is now actually here. There's a ridge, right? This white cell material that's been jammed, that the body makes nails out of, that has been blocked because I let my cuticles get glued down to my fingernails. So all of this dead cell material that's trying to travel off your body, instead it gets jammed up under the skin and your fingers swell up. Well, now that I got my fingernails kind of sort of broken loose, this stuff is wanting to make new nails and catch up and do the work it's been wanting to do these many years and couldn't. And so this stuff is actually moving out. You know, it's evacuating. And so now you could actually draw, if you look at it from head on, you could draw my finger in 2 dimensions, and the bottom semicircle would be big, and then it would come in slightly, because this is actually coming out now in a ridge like that on both sides, because the cell material is emptying out from under here and leaving the skin baggy, and it's emptying out from back here and dropping back down closer to the bone, and it's leaving an accumulation along the side. And if you look, you can probably see, and even in this miserable light, you may be able to see it there. All of that lumpy white stuff under my skin is accumulated dead cell material that has just been jammed up in my body, that should have been being turned into fingernail and moving off my body every day and getting clipped off. It's waste. It's waste that's been bottled up inside my body for 65 years. All of that white that you see. And then sometimes today, and in some light, you can see this is where it's actually mashed out that way. You know, it's actually, my finger is becoming less round and more flattened. Like a crocodile is not round. It's flattened out. And sometimes a day, let's see if I got the finger over here. See, right now it's wanting to reflate, but sometimes it's baggy. You know, after I did all this picking out the other day, this finger got baggy. It looks like it's filled back up. I did have it where I could punch that in and it wouldn't reflate. I did a video on it. It's very short. It's a 17-minute video. So now that's back to reflating almost instantly. But that's just because I've got so much material still jacked up under my skin. This seems like this is a bump, a hard bump under here, but it may be, and this, you can see that, is still a lump on top, even though this other stuff is emptying out around it. That cell material has gone away. Now that's looking red, because this stuff has no blood vessels in it. When this stuff gets stashed between your living tissue and the skin, then you can't see the blood vessels in your skin anymore. You get these dead white fingers, just like a corpse. It's because you can't see the blood vessels feeding the oxygen to your fingers. So, but this is a lump here under the skin, and some of these lumps are not. Some of them move around. You know, they've become mobile. This stuff is loose, but some of it is actually coagulated, I think, or congealed. This is hard, and you can see it's not. Can't see it in that light too well, but there's a lump here, and I can see it on the sides here. You know, this is dropped down here. Now there's a ridge down here, but there's like a concave place right here. It's wider here, and then it comes back up, and there's a bump here. But in between, this stuff is emptied out. So when this stuff empties out, it's making my fingers baggy. But in a day, more of this stuff, it could be no telling how far back it goes. It travels on down, and it reflates the fingers with more dead cell material that is in queue, standing in line and wanting to get out. And I'm more than happy to accommodate. I want to get all the dead cell material off my body, if it's possible. All of those white lumps under there are just accumulated dead cell material that should be and should have been making nail day by day for all these years, but they couldn't. It wasn't that nothing was getting off, because the front of my finger wasn't the front of my fingernail wasn't captured by skin. You can have that happen, where it's the cuticle wraps the nail all the way around, and then the nail just gets smaller and smaller and smaller visually, what you can see. And it diminishes and diminishes and diminishes, and the skin just builds up and up and up and swallows it. But some nail material is actually getting off your body. Generally, if your nails are free, open at the front, even if they're glued down at the back, because the tremendous pressure of all this stuff is pushing out on the nail, even though the cuticle is glued down to it. And that's why I've said in other videos, I've said you'll actually see little grab and release marks, little bars across the fingernail, where the cuticle has locked down to the nail, and then for whatever reason the nail has continued to move out. It stretches and pulls the cuticle with it until it pops and comes back a little bit, and then it'll grab again, but it'll leave a mark on the nail. All of these little imperfections in the nail, there are reasons for them, and in the textbooks they ascribe bogus reasons. They say this is all symptoms of psoriasis of the nail. Actually, what it is, it's a symptom of the fact that you've got this dead cell material up underneath your skin. That's what creates these little pinholes and voids and irregular texture, and all of that is caused by this junk underneath the nail. That's what causes grooves in the nail. It's this hard coagulated dead cell material up under here, and the nail material that's being dragged out underneath it is getting grooved, because this stuff actually has texture. It's not liquid. And you can see it there. You can see that bump, right? But you used to not be able to see it, and you couldn't see this collar, because all of this was inflated here. All of this dead cell material was so puffed up under the skin that you couldn't see that collar, right? You couldn't see it in relief. You couldn't see that it was lower here, and then it comes back up, and here's a bump, and then it's a little lower here. It falls off on the side. This is emptied out over here. It's left this bump standing up, and you can see it here. It's like a blister, and there. And at certain times of day, you'll see it on the bottom, on my fingers. In the mornings, quite often, I'll see it. There'll be a line down here and a line down here, and there'll be a raised section right there. And it'll be evacuated over here. You can see that. Look at that line of white all the way back down there. And there's a ridge right there of accumulation. It's not uniform. It bunches up. I don't know if there's any real percentage in deviling this anymore today. You have to wait for it to a certain extent. You can be aggressive with it, but at a certain point it becomes, an exercise in futility. You can, like I say, you can wait until tomorrow. There's going to be more until you get to the end. Like shoveling off a pile of gravel. Until you take away that last shovelful, there's always going to be more gravel. So you can wait until tomorrow. You definitely can. But see, this is really, all of these corners, this is where you bit, and this is where you did damage. There's more impaction here. There are more nail flakes that have been separately and individually embalmed. And so you get a nail flake, and then you get a layer of dead cuticle skin, and then you can have another nail flake and another layer of skin and another nail flake. So you can pull these out repetitively. But all of them together are all massed up. That's what created this tremendous pressure in the custom. Not the same really here or back here. You know, you have to have really done some really serious nail biting. Most people just bite the nail in the corner there. And this has been the really been a devil of a deal over here, the corner of this finger. And all the other nails have broken loose and moved out to a certain extent. But I'm still having problems. I haven't gotten around to being able to trim these wings off because I couldn't get under here. The shimpaction is just too tight on the sides. So that nail is still relatively wide. That thumbnail is still relative, even though I've taken off a lot. See what a mess that is. But this nail wants to be thinner. You know, all of this is spread out. Material, and you can see it there. It just flows out like an alluvial fan, right? But that's not the shape of the nail bed. The nail bed is parallel on the sides. That's where the nail is supposed to be. It's spilled out over here because all of this junk underneath built up and up and up and let it. And finally it was able to spill out over this accumulated dead cuticle material that runs all the way around here in a big flubber bumper. And that whole flubber bumper, however thick it is, if it's an eighth of a 16th of an inch of an eighth of an inch, it's all going to go away. And I'll have one, whatever it is, dermis and epidermis. I should only have 2 layers, you know what I mean? I shouldn't have an eighth of an inch of accumulated dead callus skin on the front of my fingers. That's all going to go away. But these torn up wings and all, they're going to go away. All of this accumulation here, that's going to go away. It's going to flake off one way or another. At some point, we'll be back down to the nail bed, and there won't be anything obstructing. And the new nail material that flows out and forms will conform to the nail bed. And then I'll have nails that are the right shape. They'll be parallel on the sides. Like that. It'll be there and there. And it'll be back from, and the nail will be from back here, where however much of the nail bed is overburdened by this built up cuticle. If that's an eighth of an inch or 3/16 of a quarter or 3/8 of an inch, it doesn't matter. It's just going to add to the length of the nail. And out here underneath this flubber somewhere is the end of my nail bed. And then I'll have nail from there to there. And then when I have white on the front of my nail, it'll just be where it's come off the front of the nail bed. And it's not in contact with the nail bed anymore. And you can see all of this is just dried up in a day. In a day. That again. All of this will come off. It'll just flake off. I desperately want to get this finger straightened out. I've gone on to easier things because it just, apparently it was a nail, you know, it was the most easily accessible nail, like that we do a lot of damage to our thumbs. And then the next finger that we can get to easiest. This was all the way up, like out here. It was almost a triangle that came out like that. And then this whole collar was distended out and around it. And you can't believe how much damage you've done until you start taking it off and you can see it fall out. Every little bit helps. Anything you get out, you get out. Anything that's gone is gone. And now that bumper, as this scales back, this flubber bumper in front will reveal itself because that groove, this is all surplus here, this whole dimension from there to there. And it's the same all the way around. It doesn't vary. It's been built up in rings. And so if it's that wide there, it's that wide there, it's that wide over here, and it's that much in the back. And it's solid. And when this nail goes away, you'll see the whole thing revealed. And it finally won't be fooling you anymore. It won't be hiding under your nails. Your nails are not the right shape. They're paddle shaped, and they're paddle shaped because they've come out and mimic the shape of the dead cuticle buildup underneath them. That's what it's resting on. It's not resting on the nail bed anymore. So it's not taking its shape from the nail bed anymore. It's taking it from this, from that pile of dead cuticle skin you've got sitting built up on top of the nail bed. It's all bogus. It's all got to go away. So that's starting to break loose a little bit. And with any luck, in a day or two, I'll be able to pick that out. I picked that out from under there before. But there's always just more and more and more. Yeah, there you go. Bleed it a little bit. But you see, that's clearly not a nail. That's it might be a lip of nail right there, but mostly that's just dead cuticle skin that's laminated in under that corner. And it wants to break loose and turn loose. You've got to break it. You got to break it loose and let the nail turn loose and move out. Break up. Once it's free from all of this stuff, it'll realize that it's junk and wants to break up then and fracture and break up or travel off. One way or another, it'll go away. It's the skin that's laminated right up and under the nail. Layer by layer, it interleaves. So it's one skin this way and nail this way, and then skin over it this way and nail over it this way. And every time it scales back, you'll see you'll see the skin there. And then when it scales back some more, you'll see that it's still skin up underneath here and skin up underneath here and skin all the way back to however far it was you bit it back. Just callus. That's all that is. Of course, the easier just to get a manicure. Whew. Make it all pretty. And just continue to ignore all this. Damage underneath. It's always an option just to quit. Let your body make some new cover nails come out wet. They'll harden up, and they'll make a new nail on top of all that crap, and you'll be good with it. It remains an option. You can quit anytime that you decide that you can live with the damage. You've lived with the damage, however many years it was that you bit your fingernails, and how many years after you quit that you didn't realize that it was all the damage was still there. Ooh, that's going to hurt. That is, that's going to hurt. No, that's not going to come out. It's still in there too deep. I tried to pull that time. Nope. We're gonna have to canoodle that a little more. That's a knot. That's a knot of callus there. It's bunched up in the corner because it's double and triple thick there where it folds. It's compressed, it's tighter in the corner because when the skin overlaps this corner of the nail back here, it wraps tighter and tighter and tighter. It's actually cutting that corner, and so more and more and more of the cuticle material is compressed into a tighter and tighter and tighter space. And if that depends on how far that lump is, the tail of it, there you go. A bit of it just pulled out. But however much of that junk is stuck up underneath the nail, you try to pull it out between there and there. It depends on how tight it is and how deep it's buried. It can hurt pretty good, Let's see. Yep. Now we'll get a little blood. But that's a nice hunk of impaction there. See, and now that's not in the corner of my finger anymore, and won't ever be again. So whatever discomfort that was causing, in a day or so, when that has time to stop being tender, we'll be done with that. Now that's starting to straighten up a little bit, see? You see now when it's fresh like that, you can see how that's pushed out. You can see how the cuticle is pushed out here, out and around. But in a day or so, it'll collapse back down to there. This corner will come around tight, and it'll be right on that line because it's been under pressure out. The nail is pushing it out. The nail is spread out. It's all under pressure, and it's pushing this dead cuticle material out and forcing its way out, flatter and flatter and flatter. You look at that video I made of, I think it's an hour and 33 minutes. And I look at pictures of other people's hands that I've made out in public, just sitting around. And there's one guy that's actually, his fingernails coming out like it's a blade. It's like 3 times as wide as it's supposed to be, and it's just sitting all on callus. It's completely white because it's not in touch with the nail bed anywhere. And it's not pressed down tight enough. It's such a big honking nail. It's not pressed down tight enough to the dead cuticle skin underneath it that it will show. Just from the pressure, it looks like a regular nail. If it's mashed down on this, if the nail is mashed down and is in contact with this, then it'll look like a regular nail. And if it's lifted up, if there's airspace in between it, then you'll see the streaks of white. It's just telling you that the nail is not in contact with the nail bed. And that's all needs to come out too, but it's not as tight and it's not as critical over here in this corner as it is. I bit more aggressively from this side than from that side because this side was easier to get to. So every finger and every corner of every finger and everything is different. It's depending on, your thumbs came in for more. Generally, your thumbs will come in for more abuse. But that nail is still too wide. And you can see now that that's a flubber bumper that's just rolled up and over the nail bed on the side, and it's rolled up and over on the front. And when this will all dig out, and it'll leave that groove. It'll leave that groove all the way around in front when this scales back a little bit more. Because none of this nail here is actually attached to the nail bed. It's all riding up in the air on top of cuticle skin and trash. See, that's pulling out from underneath. Pulling out from underneath the nail. This is lapped up over the nail. This nail is going to be relieved eventually, and it will finally break loose. It has not yet really started to move out. It's put out new nail material over here where I've pulled out enough dead cuticle just on this one side. See, but I haven't taken it out all the way around. I didn't realize what was going on for a long time. I was just pulling out what I saw. So I was starting here, and I was picking that out, and I was pulling that dead cuticle out like that, layer after layer after layer, and it was moving back a little bit. I didn't realize then that the cuticle was all one piece and went all the way around. So you're just taking out parts of it. So I've taken out more in back here than I have here because I wasn't able to get to this until the nail scaled back. Nail didn't start to scale back until the rest of it was under mine. Oh boy, I just stuck myself. Ich lieber. Oh well. Come on now. So that's unsatisfying. Just not wanting to cooperate. I wanted to clean that out right there. But you can see the layer separating there. That's one down there. I can do this without hurting myself. This comes out just like butter because it's dead. Dead skin. Got a little piece of it. Pulled right out from underneath. Left that groove. And that's what you want. You want to separate the nail from the skin. It's not laminated in. This is why your nail hasn't been able to move out the way it's supposed to and get clipped off. Okay? Only the top veneer is moving a little bit. It's plastic. It's possible for it to shift on top. And leave this stuff and just move a sheet out over this and leave this stuff buried in the bottom. That's no good. All of this stuff is waste. It's all supposed to come off. You have got to free the nail loose from all this stuff it's laminated in. There was something else I was supposed to tell you and I forgot. Distracted myself. You see now that wing, you can see that wing better now. It wants to be back here, you know. There's the straight line there. This is winged out. So, and you can see this line, you know, this line was come all the way back around underneath there, and underneath there back over to here. And that groove is going to be back down here somewhere and come out and around. All of this will dig out. All this will pick out, and it'll be in like that. And all of this, the whole width of it, the whole dimension, that much, you know, from there to there, it's the same. That dimension is the same all the way around, and all of it's dead, and all of it has to come out. And the profile of your finger, when you're done, will be that much smaller. All of that is buildup. All of that is dead skin. These nails are not the right shape because they're not shaped like the nail bed. They're paddled out like ping pong paddles. Oh, and that's the thing I think I was supposed to tell you is that it doesn't do any good if the skin on your if your skin is built up and up and up and up and up, okay, and it's way up here, and you can't see all of this stuff under here because the skin is here, right? It's built all the way up, and the skin, and now you think, if you look in the textbooks, in the nail textbook, they'll say you have almond-shaped nails, right? You've got an almond-shaped nail because you've been pushing the dead skin back in an almond shape with your little stick, so it looks almond-shaped. It's just not. They tell you in the textbook they're different nail shapes. No, they're not. Nails are supposed to look like the nail bed. They're supposed to be the same. Unless you've got an almond-shaped nail bed, you're not supposed to have almond-shaped nails. That's all garbage. That's all nonsense. They're telling you wrong. Okay? And if you've got skin all the way up to here, and you come along and you push on it with your little wooden stick, are you surprised that it's not doing any good if it's still stuck to the nail all the way back down here? See, that's the thing. You're not actually, if you've got stacks and stacks and stacks of damaged nails underneath your cuticle skin, it doesn't matter that you're just pushing on it on the you're breaking it loose like that right here. If it's stuck to the nail all the way back here, if it's stuck to the nail all the way down here, if this is all buried in dead skin up to there, the nail's not moving out. Only incrementally, and only because it's under such tremendous pressure. That's a really important thing that I haven't been able to get across in the videos. But you're only fiddling with the very leading edge of the skin, and you're not really breaking your cuticles loose. When you're, if you know, you are if you've always done it. Since the time you were 5 years old and your mother said, look, this is the way you have to do it, and you do it every day, and you take this little stick and you keep it, and then you oil it, and your nails stay flexible and your cuticles stay flexible, and there you go. That's the way you do it. And you go, yes, ma'am, I'll do it. And you've done it that way ever since. And your nails never got stuck. Then pushing on your nail with that little wooden stick is doing the job. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But if there was a 20-year line gap between you pushing on the cuticle with your little wooden stick and before, when you were biting your nails, you're not doing yourself any good at all. That nail is stuck and frozen there, and pushing on the leading edge of it with your little wooden stick isn't doing anything. It's not unsticking anything. And that's an important point that I've not made clear. Under here somewhere you can see the nail bed. You're not supposed to have acorn-shaped nails, almond-shaped nails, you know. You're not supposed to have all these different shapes of nail. Your nail is supposed to be the same shape as the nail bed. Believe that. And all of this is buildup. The whole thickness of it is buildup and needs to go away. And these nails that you've got sticking out over it are just covering up all of this dead skin. They're way up above the nail bed. They're not in contact with the nail bed. And they're just sitting out there, and they've assumed the shape generally. If they've gotten high enough where they've flowed out over this cuticle material, then they've assumed the same shape as the dead cuticle underneath it, and that's why you've got paddle-shaped nails. But your nails are actually supposed to be parallel on the sides. There's not supposed to be dead skin lapped up all the way over here and under there. There's not supposed to be any of that crap. Your nails are supposed to follow the nail bed all the way down to wherever the nail bed is, way down here. It's not supposed to be built up and up and up on the sides. It's not supposed to be built up and up and up and up so to the point that your nail spills over the dead cuticle skin and assumes the shape of the dead skin underneath. And your nails are supposed to be cylindrical, not dead flat. Okay? An hour and 3 minutes. We'll call it a day. The stuff does not fix itself. You're going to have to, until somebody comes along, until a real medical person who knows what he's doing comes along and figures out how to burn off all this damage with a laser or something and get it done quicker. Until then, you're pretty much stuck with the analog solution. The drugs do not work. If you're going into an office 3 times a week, paying $125 to $250 a visit, and getting prescriptions for stuff that are supposed to fix psoriasis of the nails, you need to investigate something else. This is not a disease. All right? This is psoriasis of the nail is a symptom of poor nail maintenance, not some other systemic problem. All right? You heard it here first. And I'm not bullshitting. Ouch. That's why you don't like to work in the corners. You stab yourself right there. I love this magnification, though. And see, I'll show you that one thing, and then we're going to see. You can't, it's not. Ooh, let's see. Come on now. Why are you all of a sudden not wanting to do? See, the nail, even though the nail on the left is still too wide, but it's not nearly as wide as the nail on the right, with all of those extensions and overlays and side nails and surplus. So, and the collar is actually diminishing the red part that you can see back here. So far, there's no magic bullet. It's an analog deal, and you're just going to have to get to work on it and fix your own fingernails. Later.